There's a moment in every chosen one's journey when they realize they are different, when the path they walk becomes less about personal achievement and more about a purpose far greater than themselves. It doesn't come in a flash of light or a grand revelation. It arrives quietly, like the first whisper of dawn, the moment when the world around you suddenly seems more vibrant, more full of possibility. The path of the chosen one is not an easy one. It's not about being special. It's about being awake in a world that's largely asleep. When you are chosen, you feel it in every fiber of your being. It's not a gift, it's a responsibility, one that will challenge every part of who you thought you were and push you to become someone stronger, braver, and more purposeful. But that's the catch. You don't have a choice in the matter. You were chosen because you're capable of doing what others won't, standing up, speaking out, and standing firm in the face of overwhelming odds. But the question you have to ask yourself is, are you ready for the weight of that responsibility? It's a path that will break you, but it will also rebuild you in ways you never imagined. You will be tested. You will doubt yourself. But as you keep walking, you will start to see the beauty of your mission, the deeper understanding that you were never meant to fit in. Your role isn't to be a follower, it's to lead the way, no matter how alone you feel at times. Because once you step into the light of your truth, there's no turning back. So this is where it begins, the moment when you stop walking in the shadows and start walking in your truth. It's terrifying, it's lonely, but it's the only way forward. And in the end, that's what makes the chosen ones so powerful. They aren't afraid to walk the road less traveled, even when they don't know where it leads. Because somewhere along that path, they know they'll find their purpose. The burden of truth, a double-edged sword. Truth is heavy. It's a burden that few are willing to carry because once you know the truth, it changes you in ways you can't undo. It has a way of disrupting everything you've ever known, flipping your world upside down, and forcing you to see things from a perspective you never thought possible. And that's where the burden lies. Because while truth can be liberating, it can also be isolating. When you see the world for what it truly is, you can no longer pretend to play along with the lies others are telling themselves. I remember the first time I felt the full weight of truth. I was in a room full of people laughing and talking, but inside I was screaming. I could see through the masks, the performances, the facades they wore like armor. And the more I saw, the more I realized that I couldn't ignore it anymore. I had to speak. I had to call out what was wrong, even though it terrified me. But as soon as I did, everything changed. People turned away. They looked at me like I was the crazy one, like I had done something wrong by exposing the truth. But that's the paradox of truth. It doesn't always make people feel better. Sometimes it makes them uncomfortable, even angry. They want to stay in their bubbles, in their comfortable illusions. And the moment you break those illusions, you become a threat. Truth is a double-edged sword. It can free you, but it can also leave you vulnerable. Once you speak it, you're on the hook. You're no longer just part of the crowd, you're different, and that difference will cause friction. People won't like you for it. They won't want you to expose the cracks in their perfect worlds. But you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth the pain, the rejection, the isolation, to stand firm in your truth? The answer is yes. Because when you embrace the burden of truth, you're not just freeing yourself, you're freeing others who are still trapped in the dark. You're showing them that it's okay to speak out, to stand up, to be real. And that's when the world begins to change. But it starts with you, with your willingness to carry the weight, even when it's hard, even when it feels like it's too much. Because in the end, the truth will always find its way, and those who are brave enough to carry it will change the world. Why they fear you, the unseen power of the chosen ones. There's an invisible force that flows through the chosen ones, a power that others can't quite understand, and that's why they fear you. It's not your physical strength. It's not your popularity or your social status. It's something deeper, something they can't put their finger on, and that makes them uncomfortable. You have this uncanny ability to see through the masks people wear, to see their true intentions, even when they're trying to deceive you. This is your gift, and it's what makes those in power so afraid. They fear your clarity because it exposes their lies, their manipulations, their control. And it's not just the people you confront directly who fear you. It's everyone who feels the weight of your truth, those who have been complicit in maintaining the status quo. Your very presence forces them to question everything they've been told to accept. They fear the power of the chosen ones because they know you're not afraid to speak the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it makes others feel. You don't shy away from the hard conversations. You don't back down when others try to silence you, and that's what they can't handle. You represent something they can't control, something they can't predict. And that unpredictability is terrifying, because in a world built on lies, truth is the most disruptive force. But here's the secret. You're not doing this for attention, for approval, or for recognition. You're doing it because it's who you are. It's what you were born to do. Your presence alone shakes the system, cracks the illusions, and forces people to confront what they've been hiding from. And that's why they fear you. It's not because you're loud or aggressive or difficult to deal with. It's because you are a force of nature, a reflection of everything they don't want to face. And deep down, they know that you're right. The ripple effect, how one voice becomes many. You may feel like you're walking this journey alone, like you're the only one who can see the truth. But here's the thing, you are never really alone. There are others out there, just like you, waiting for someone to speak up, waiting for someone to show them that it's okay to stand tall and speak their truth. And it's your voice that starts the ripple effect. It's your willingness to stand up in the face of opposition that gives others the courage to do the same. Think about it, how many times have you heard someone speak their truth, and it made you think differently about something you had accepted for years? How many times have you seen someone refuse to stay silent in the face of injustice, and it made you feel like you could do the same? That's the power of the ripple effect. It starts with one person, one voice, one act of courage, and then it spreads. One person speaks, and then others follow. One person stands up, and others stand beside them. And before you know it, you've sparked a movement. This is why it's so important to never underestimate the power of your voice. You don't know how many lives you're touching with your actions, how many people are silently watching and gaining the strength to speak up themselves. You might think your words don't matter, that they are falling on deaf ears. But the truth is, every time you speak, you're planting a seed. And eventually, that seed will grow into something bigger, something that can't be ignored. Your voice may be the first, but it won't be the last. Because when one person speaks the truth, others will follow. And the more people who speak, the harder it becomes for the lies to survive. You may not see the change right away, but trust me, it's happening. The ripple effect is in motion. And soon, the world will have no choice but to listen. Standing strong in your truth, defying the illusions. Standing in your truth is one of the hardest things you'll ever do, especially when the world around you is full of illusions. Everywhere you look, people are pretending, hiding, playing roles that don't reflect who they truly are. And when you refuse to play along, when you choose to stand firm in your truth, you become an outlier. You become the person who challenges the status quo, who refuses to settle for the lies and illusions that everyone else is content to accept. It's not easy, it's not comfortable, but it's necessary. And here's the thing you have to remember, standing in your truth doesn't mean you have to shout it from the rooftops. You don't have to fight to be heard. All you have to do is stand in your truth with unwavering confidence. Don't let the noise around you shake you. Don't let the opinions of others make you doubt yourself. Just stand. Your strength will speak louder than any words could. People will notice. And even if they don't agree with you, they won't be able to ignore you. They won't be able to pretend that your truth doesn't exist. And eventually, that's what makes the illusion crumble. Because the truth always finds its way to the surface. The more you stand in it, the more you become a beacon for others who are looking for their own truth. You become the example. You become the one others look to for strength and courage. And in doing so, you help others find their own voice. So stand tall, stand firm, and never back down. Because when you stand in your truth, you're not just changing your own life, you're changing the world. The awakening, realizing your divine purpose. There's a moment when everything shifts. It's the moment when you realize that your life is not just a series of events happening by chance, but a carefully woven tapestry, each thread leading you closer to something greater. I remember the exact day it happened for me. It was as if the clouds parted and I saw my purpose for the first time. But it wasn't a grand revelation or a loud voice from above. It was a quiet knowing deep inside me. I had been going through life, doing what everyone told me I should do, following the path laid out for me, but something inside me always felt off. I was successful by the world's standards, but I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't truly alive. It was during a moment of complete stillness that the truth hit me. I wasn't here just to survive. I was here to fulfill a higher purpose. But what does it mean to realize your divine purpose? It means waking up to the fact that you are part of a bigger plan, a cosmic design that's been in the works long before you ever knew it. And suddenly, nothing in your life feels random anymore. Every hardship, every challenge, every triumph starts to make sense. The twists and turns you've faced have been leading you to this point, to this moment of clarity. But realizing your divine purpose isn't an easy road. It's a process of peeling away the layers of fear and doubt that have been built up over years of conditioning. The world tells you to play it safe, to conform, to follow the rules. But your soul knows better. Your soul knows that you were never meant to fit in, that you were meant to stand out. And once you recognize this, the world around you starts to change. People start to notice the shift within you, and you become a magnet for the right opportunities, the right people, the right experiences. This is the awakening, the moment when you realize that you are here for something greater, something divine. And when that awakening happens, there's no turning back. You can't unsee it, unfeel it, or ignore it. Your life will never be the same again. And that's the beauty of awakening to your divine purpose. It transforms everything. You begin to walk with more intention, more clarity, and more power. And as you continue to walk in alignment with your purpose, the path becomes clearer, and you realize that you are exactly where you are meant to be. The divine purpose isn't just a destination, it's the journey itself. And it's a journey that will challenge you, change you, and ultimately reveal to you the fullest version of yourself. The cost of defiance, enduring the backlash. There's a price to pay when you choose to stand up for the truth, especially in a world that prefers comfort over confrontation. When you decide to defy the norms, to speak up when others stay silent, you become a target. And that's a hard pill to swallow. I know it all too well. When I first started speaking my truth, I thought I was doing the right thing, that people would rally behind me. But the reality was much different. Instead of support, I faced criticism. Instead of praise, I faced rejection. People didn't want to hear what I had to say. They didn't want to be reminded of the things they had ignored for so long. And in that moment, I understood what defiance truly costs. It costs comfort. It costs peace. It costs relationships. When you refuse to conform, you begin to alienate those around you. Friends who once supported you may suddenly avoid you. Family members may question your decisions, and colleagues may doubt your intentions. The cost of defiance is high, but it's also invaluable. It's the price you pay for living authentically, for standing firm in your beliefs, and for refusing to play along with a system that doesn't align with your values. The backlash is real. People will talk behind your back, they'll criticize you, and they'll try to tear you down. But here's the thing, the backlash isn't about you, it's about them. It's about their discomfort with the truth you bring, their fear of change, and their unwillingness to face the uncomfortable realities that you've chosen to confront. And while it hurts in the moment, this is exactly why your defiance matters. Because without people like you, nothing would ever change. Without people willing to take the heat, to stand firm when everyone else is bending, the world would remain stagnant. Your defiance creates the space for change, for growth, for evolution. But in order to make that impact, you have to be willing to endure the backlash. You have to be willing to stand tall in the face of opposition and stay true to yourself, even when the world tells you to fall in line. It's not easy and it's not comfortable, but it is necessary. Because the world needs people like you, people who are willing to pay the price of defiance in order to bring about the change that's so desperately needed. Becoming a protector, the unexpected leadership. I never set out to be a leader. In fact, for a long time I resisted it. I thought leadership was for someone else, someone with more experience, more confidence, more authority. But life has a funny way of showing you that leadership isn't about titles or accolades. Leadership is about standing up when others won't, speaking out when others are silent, and protecting those who can't protect themselves. I realized this one day when I witnessed an injustice. It wasn't something I had planned, but in that moment, I couldn't stay quiet. I stood up and spoke out, not because I was trying to be a hero, but because it felt like the only thing I could do. In that instant, I became something I never thought I could be: a protector. The truth is, leadership often doesn't come in the way we expect it to. It doesn't always look like what we see in the movies, with grand speeches and big movements. Sometimes, leadership is quiet. It's the moment when you step into someone else's life and say, "I've got you." It's the act of standing in the gap when no one else is willing to. And what I learned is that when you step up to protect others, you also protect yourself. You protect your soul, your integrity, and your peace. It's a strange thing, this unexpected leadership. You don't plan for it, but once you step into it, you realize it's not about you. It's about those who need you. And when you become a protector, you discover strength you didn't know you had. You become a force that others can count on, someone who will never back down in the face of adversity. And through that, you create a ripple effect. Your act of protection inspires others to do the same. It inspires them to step into their own power, to protect the vulnerable, to stand for what's right. And in this way, you become part of a larger movement, a movement of protectors, each one holding the line for those who can't. And that's when you realize that leadership isn't about being in charge. It's about being the one who refuses to let others fall. The divine whisper, hearing your calling in the silence. There's a power in silence that many people overlook. In a world filled with noise, it's easy to get distracted, to lose sight of what's truly important. But the divine whisper, the voice of your calling, speaks in the quietest moments, in the space between your thoughts, in the stillness of your soul. I remember the first time I heard it. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was a simple thought, a knowing that appeared out of nowhere. You are meant for something greater. And in that moment, I understood something I hadn't before. The divine whisper doesn't need to shout to be heard. It doesn't need to compete with the world's noise. All it needs is for you to be still, to listen. That's the challenge. The world is always pulling us in 1,000 directions, and it's easy to forget that we have a calling that's uniquely ours. But when you take the time to sit in silence, to let go of the distractions, that's when the divine whisper becomes clear. It's the moment when you realize that your purpose is not something you have to chase. It's something that's already within you. The divine whisper isn't a call to action. It's a call to alignment. It's the reminder that you're already in the right place, that you're already on the right path, and all you have to do is trust. Trust that the universe is guiding you. Trust that you are being led towards something greater than yourself. The more you listen to that whisper, the more it becomes a part of you, until you can no longer ignore it. And that's when you step into your true power. You stop seeking validation from the world, and you start trusting the divine guidance that's always been there, waiting for you to listen. The divine whisper doesn't just tell you what to do, it shows you who you are. Truth over comfort. The challenge of staying real. The world doesn't make it easy to stay real. Everywhere you turn, there's pressure to conform, to fit in, to follow the crowd. It's tempting, isn't it? The comfort of blending in, the relief of not standing out. But here's the problem. When you choose comfort over truth, you lose yourself. I've been there, caught between the need to please others and the desire to stay true to myself. I've silenced my voice, ignored my instincts, and played along because I thought it was easier. But the truth has a funny way of making itself known. No matter how much you try to ignore it, it eventually breaks through. It demands to be heard. And that's when the challenge begins, choosing truth over comfort. I remember the first time I stood up for what I knew was right, even though it was the hardest thing I'd ever done. I had to choose between what was easy and what was real. I had to choose between comfort and authenticity. And I chose authenticity, even though it cost me relationships, even though it made me uncomfortable. But here's what I learned. When you choose truth over comfort, you begin to experience a freedom that is unmatched. The weight that you once carried, the pressure to conform, begins to fall away. And in its place, you find peace. The peace that comes from knowing you're living in alignment with who you truly are. The world may not always make it easy to stay real, but that's exactly why it's worth it. Because in the end, the only thing that matters is that you can look yourself in the mirror and know that you are true to your heart, to your soul, to your purpose. When you choose truth, you choose freedom. You choose the life you were meant to live. And there's no greater victory than that. The battle between light and darkness. There's a battle that every chosen one faces, a battle that's fought not on battlefields, but within the soul. It's the battle between light and darkness, between truth and lies, between who you truly are and who the world tries to make you become. I remember the first time I truly understood this battle. It wasn't in a dramatic moment of confrontation, but in the quiet moments when I had to choose between doing what was easy and doing what was right. It's in those moments, when the stakes are low and the choices are subtle, that the battle is won or lost. The light represents everything you stand for: truth, integrity, clarity, and courage. The darkness is the opposite: fear, doubt, manipulation, and complacency. And the truth is, the darkness is always there lurking, trying to pull you into its grip. It's not always a loud battle. Sometimes it's the quiet voice in your head telling you to stay silent, to let things slide, to avoid confrontation. But what I've learned is that the more you ignore the darkness, the stronger it becomes. It's easy to get lost in it, to think that it's too powerful to fight, too overwhelming to stand against. But that's the illusion. The truth is, the light is more powerful than the darkness could ever be. It's just harder to see sometimes, especially when you're surrounded by shadows. I remember feeling overwhelmed by the weight of this battle, feeling like I was constantly fighting against something I couldn't control. But then I realized the battle isn't something external. It's internal. It's about whether I'm willing to stay true to my values when the world tries to drag me down. It's about whether I'm willing to keep walking in the light, even when it feels like the darkness is closing in. And here's what I want you to understand. This battle is not only yours to fight. Every time you stand in your truth, every time you choose the light over the darkness, you make the world a little brighter. You inspire others to do the same. You show them that they, too, can choose the light, even when the darkness seems overwhelming. The battle is real, and it's difficult, but it's also necessary. Because when you choose the light, you not only win the battle for yourself, you win it for everyone around you. And in the end, the light always prevails. It might take time. It might take endurance. But eventually, the darkness will fade, and the light will shine brighter than ever before. The power of your presence, changing reality. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the energy shift? Have you ever been in the presence of someone who didn't say a word, but you knew they carried power, conviction, and truth? That's the power of your presence. It's something that can't be faked. It's not about the words you speak or the actions you take. It's about the energy you carry with you. I've experienced it myself, a moment when I walked into a room and felt everything change. I didn't know it at the time, but I was shifting the energy around me simply by being present. It's a strange thing, isn't it, to realize that your presence can change the reality of a situation just by being who you are. I remember when I was younger, I didn't think I had that kind of power. I thought power was something you had to earn through actions, through achievements, through accolades. But as I grew older, I began to realize that true power doesn't come from what you do, it comes from who you are. And when you stand in your truth, when you are aligned with your purpose, your presence alone becomes transformative. People feel it. They may not know exactly what it is, but they feel the shift. And that's when things begin to change. When you walk into a room with clarity, with confidence, and with your truth intact, you force the world around you to acknowledge it. The people in that room can't stay the same. They feel your energy, and it makes them question their own. Your presence holds the power to shift realities, to change perceptions, to inspire action, and to create a space where truth can thrive. But it's not about trying to be powerful. It's about being real. It's about being so grounded in your truth that you can't help but affect the world around you. This power doesn't come from domination. It comes from alignment. And when you align with your higher purpose, when you stay true to who you are, your presence becomes a force that nothing can deny. People may try to resist it. They may try to ignore it. But in the end, they can't. Because the energy you carry is undeniable. It's a reflection of your soul, your truth, and your purpose. And that is something the world can't ignore. Aligning with the divine plan, your unseen role. There's a plan, a divine plan, that you are a part of even if you don't fully understand it yet. I didn't realize this at first. For a long time I felt lost, like I was drifting without a clear direction. I thought that everything I was doing was random, that my life didn't have a clear purpose. But then, something shifted. I began to see the pattern in my life, the events that led me to this moment, the people who crossed my path, the challenges that shaped who I am today. I started to understand that every part of my journey was leading me to something greater, something that had been set in motion long before I was born. The divine plan isn't something you control. It's something you align with. It's the recognition that there is a higher purpose guiding you, even when you can't see it. And when you start to align with that purpose, when you start to trust that the universe is unfolding as it should, everything begins to shift. The path ahead doesn't become easier, but it becomes clearer. The obstacles you face no longer feel random. They feel like necessary steps toward your purpose. And when you align with the divine plan, you begin to see that every challenge, every struggle, every triumph is part of the bigger picture. You are not just a passive observer in this grand design. You are an active participant. Your actions, your choices, your voice, they all play a role in fulfilling the divine plan. And once you recognize that, once you embrace the fact that your life has purpose beyond your understanding, everything changes. You stop fighting against the current and start flowing with it. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstance and start recognizing that you are exactly where you need to be. The divine plan is unfolding for you, through you, and with you. And when you align with that, you step into your true power. You realize that everything you've been through, every hardship you've faced, has prepared you for this moment. You are exactly where you are meant to be, and you are doing exactly what you were born to do. Embracing the journey, how to keep going. The journey of the chosen one is not a straight line. It's full of twists, turns, and detours that can leave you questioning whether you're on the right path. I've been there. I've had moments when I felt like giving up, moments when I wondered if the road I was walking was the right one. But here's what I've learned. The journey is never meant to be easy. It's not meant to be predictable. If it were, you wouldn't grow, you wouldn't learn, you wouldn't become who you are meant to be. The key to embracing the journey is to trust the process, even when it doesn't make sense. I remember a time when I was facing a huge challenge, one that felt like it might break me. I had doubts. I wanted to turn back, but something inside me kept pushing me forward. It wasn't a grand revelation or a voice telling me what to do. It was just a quiet knowing that I had to keep going. And when I did, when I took that next step, everything shifted. I found strength I didn't know I had. I found courage I didn't know existed within me. The journey isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about continuing to move forward, even when the path is unclear, even when the obstacles seem insurmountable. It's about trusting that every step you take is part of your evolution, part of your growth. There will be times when you feel exhausted, when you want to quit, when it seems like the journey is too much to bear. But those are the moments that define you. Those are the moments when you discover who you truly are. And when you embrace the journey, when you keep going despite the challenges, you will find that every step was worth it. Because in the end, the journey isn't just about the destination. It's about the person you become along the way. Conclusion, you were born for this. As I look back on my own journey, I realized something that I didn't understand at the time. I was never meant to follow the crowd. I was never meant to play by the rules. I was meant to stand out, to speak up, and to shine a light in places where darkness had ruled for far too long. And that's exactly what you were born to do. You weren't born to fit in, to follow the path others have laid for you. You were born to blaze your own trail, to live your truth, and to inspire others to do the same. You were born for this journey, for this mission, for this moment. And every struggle you've faced, every challenge you've encountered has been preparing you for the incredible impact you're about to make. You are not alone on this path. There is a divine purpose guiding you, a higher power supporting you, and a community of people who are ready to stand with you. Your truth, your courage, your presence, it all matters. And it will change the world. So keep going, keep standing in your truth, keep embracing the journey even when it gets tough, because you were born for this. And nothing in this world can stop you now.